Oh, this seems a little bit familiar. It's kind of like I've been here before.
Kind of like deja vu?
All over again. So why are we here exactly?
Well, it's time to head out for another trip.
And where are we going this time, Miriam?
Uncharted territory, our favorite kind, Canada.
Canada, that is our ultimate destination. Hope to hit the high point of the trip to Quebec City.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
Yep, got a motorcycle, a map, Miriam, and a monk.
Let's saddle up.
This 30-day odyssey will be about 3,500 miles, taking us through 10 states and across 2 border crossings. We nicknamed this trip North by Northeast. And I would be remiss if I did not mention our friends George and Denise, who are going to join us for the first part of the trip until an unexpected family medical emergency. George and Denise have their own fledgling YouTube channel, and I'll put the link for that in the comments below.
You know, it's hard to imagine it's less than a week out and this is June, but it sure doesn't feel like June.
Yeah, I'm hoping warm weather will hit us. Of course, last year we complained about the heat, and this year we're complaining about the cold, and it's chilly, it's overcast, it's damp, it's in the low 60s, which is not too bad if you're stationary, but when you're on an open air ride like the Spyder, you have to add an extra layer.
Yeah, you just have to be ready for most anything. I was going over my to-do list this morning for the trip, and I realized I have just a touch of trip anxiety.
Just a touch?
Yeah.
I woke up this morning, I felt a lot of anxiety. But I know from experience, for me, that's normal.
You know, I know the trip we planned is not exactly the trip we're going to experience. And I know something is going to go wrong. And, you know, it's almost a relief when we figure out what that thing is. You know?
But you know, according to Murphy, it doesn't have to be limited to just one event.
Well, that's true, and I remember last year's trip was epic. I mean, it was just magnificent. But when it started out, I think it was like day 5 before I thought this is really a good idea. Because I remember thinking this was a mistake. You know, you had a cough. I hit my head the second day, and you know, I just, you know, was thinking, yeah, I'm not going to make it through all of this if this trend continues. But then I think we kind of found our rhythm, you know, and it became pleasurable, and then it became just, you know, more pleasure than I had anticipated. So
Yeah.
And I know the character of this trip will be different, and that's fine. I don't expect to repeat last summer's trip in the same way. You know, hopefully we're a little bit wiser about some things, you know.
Yeah. You know, you plan as much as you can, but the trick is to plan to be flexible, because we know adversity will raise its head. That's the nature of adventure travel.
Yeah.
That's why we do it. If we didn't want any adversity, we would take a commercial airplane to a theme park.
Yeah.
You know, where everything is measured out, metered out, insured, underwritten. Yeah. But that's not what we signed up for, and I keep repeating that on our videos.
Yeah, and you know, it's just an opportunity for problem solving, and you just have to approach it that way, and you know, sometimes you have to ask for help. You know.
Yeah. I forgot who said it. I put the quote on the video several. I collect memorable quotes like this. If your goals don't scare you, you're not doing them right.
Yeah.
So your big goals should scare you.
Yeah, and you should be a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah. I mentioned my anxiety, the trip anxiety. I've come to expect it as the trip launch date comes closer, because there's a lot of responsibility to do something like this.
Yeah.
But I also found that literally the moment we leave the driveway, it's gone.
Well, that's good.
For me.
Yeah. And I know I won't sleep at all the night before. That's just a given. But I wonder, I guess we should ask our folks what trip anxieties they have, and do they have strategies for combating it? I'd love to get some good advice on, how to minimize the anxiety. Sometimes I think I'm just a neurotic personality.
Well, I think it's human nature to be anxious about anticipating difficulty.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what we do here is not for the faint of heart.
But it doesn't really help to rehearse catastrophe. It doesn't really make you better prepared. It just makes you worried.
No, I mean, you got to do the basics. You got to carry some stuff with you in the event of the most common, issues. Carry a tire repair kit. Carry a compressor. Study first aid. Take a basic first aid kit. Real simple things. Anticipate the power going out in a national park, and you have to fend for yourself.
Yeah.
One of my favorite quotes that I use is, I may not know exactly where I'm going, but I know what I'm going to take.
Yeah.
And that is not just stuff, it is the mindset, the training, and the preparation.
Yeah.
And I've also found that this, for me, and it may be for you, you can comment on this also. Day 3 or day 4, somewhere about the end of day 3, the rhythm of the road sets in.
Yeah.
And you're accustomed to the trip, and it begins to flow much more smoothly. And for most people, unfortunately, 3 days is about all you can get. So this 3 days of getting used to it, and then you have to go home and re-immerse yourself.
Yeah, I guess you just need to allow for that time to get into the rhythm. And I think it does help to have a can-do attitude. And I think both of us are wired that way. I think for me, growing up in a military family, that's really where I got that message. You just make the best of a situation, and sometimes when things fall apart, that, like, I think about Tulsa, think about the extra, because we had extra time there, we got to have more lunches with the Broken Arrow Spider Club, and that was cool, and we got to see more sights. And even at Wolf Creek Pass, we were touched by the kindness of strangers who made the situation more tolerable. And so it's there's always, I guess, a positive aspect when things like that happen.
So, what are your goals for this trip?
They are the same as they always are on these type of trips. I want to enjoy the ride itself. I want to enjoy meeting the people we're going to meet along the way. Some we already have scheduled to meet. Others we're just going to run into. We know that will happen. The food, the cultures, and the geography, because we're going to experience the presidential range up in Vermont, New Hampshire.
Yeah, it's just exploring uncharted territory. I think that's what I love about it. Just experiences that kind of expand your mindset and your perspective. And I know for me, I have kind of a list of of things I hope to experience and do on the trip. I've had American poutine. I need to try the Canadian version. I want to sample wine from Quebec. I want to visit a dairy farm and sample cheese. I want to see a moose.
But not too close up?
Yeah. I heard something about maple syrup pie. I got to find out what that's all about. And a whole list of things.
Lobster.
Oh, how could I forget the lobster roll?
We are
in
going to
Maine.
Maine. It's sort of obligatory.
It's required.
Yes.
And, of course, I'm hoping that we have some good summer, not too hot weather, but the perfect kind of June weather. I know we'll have some not so perfect weather. And we're going to the one spot where the weather may be wild.
We are going, we're going to go to Mount Washington, which has the recorded strongest consistent winds in the United States. We'll cover that when we actually get there. And of course, for me, one of the highlights of the trip is going to the BRP factory where they produce the Can-Am Spyder and perhaps even the Rikers. I'm not sure about the Riker, but we're taking basically the Spyders going back home for the first time since it left in 2014.
Yeah, and it's it must be a comprehensive tour. They've allocated 3 hours, so really looking forward to that. I think it'll definitely be one of our trip highlights.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and another point of enjoyment is sharing the trip with you. So we're going to be heading out here shortly, and we hope you'll come along.
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll see you on the road.
Yeah. Y'all take care.
All right. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Hey, which direction are we going?
I make it out to be north by northeast.